Stop scrolling if you are 60 or older, or if you know someone who is. What I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes could directly affect how much money reaches your bank account this month. Right now, the Social Security Administration is discussing and processing some of the biggest rule shifts in years, and millions of American seniors have absolutely no idea it's even being talked about. We're talking about updates that could raise your monthly benefit or quietly lower what you've been counting on, depending on whether you know what to do right now. And here's what genuinely concerns me: most people won't learn about it until it's too late to do anything about it. Now, I've spent years translating government policy into plain, simple English. No confusing jargon, no runaround. Just clear answers that you and your family can actually use. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what may be changing, who it could affect, what you should check on your account immediately, and the simple steps you can take to protect every dollar you've worked your whole life to earn. You deserve to know the truth, you deserve straightforward answers, and you deserve to keep every single cent you're owed. If you believe seniors deserve clear, honest information, hit that like button right now and let's get into it. Now, before we dive in, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for being here. Seriously, because the fact that you showed up today, that you took time out of your day to get informed, that already puts you ahead of millions of Americans who are going to wake up this month completely surprised by what may be happening right now inside the Social Security Administration. And I don't say that to scare you. I say that because I want you to understand just how important the next few minutes truly are. So let's talk about what is really going on. The Social Security Administration, the SSA, has been rolling out and updating guidance that can affect benefits starting around now. Now, when most people hear the words rule change, they tune out. They assume it's some dry government paperwork that doesn't really affect their day-to-day life. But I'm here to tell you with complete confidence that this is not one of those moments. These updates are not just administrative tweaks. They are not just bureaucratic reshuffling. These are concrete, real-world policy adjustments that can directly touch your monthly check, your spousal benefits, your work history calculations, and in some cases, your Medicare coordination as well. And every single one of those things matters to you personally. Let me start from the very beginning because I think the best way to understand what's changing is to first understand how the Social Security system calculates your benefit in the first place. A lot of people, even those who have been receiving benefits for years, don't fully understand how their monthly payment is actually determined. And honestly, that's not your fault. The government doesn't exactly hand you a clear, plain English explanation when you sign up. So let me lay it out for you right now in a way that actually makes sense. When you work throughout your life and pay into Social Security through your payroll taxes, the SSA is keeping a record of every single year you worked and how much you earned. At the end of your working life, they take your highest 35 years of earnings, adjust those earnings for inflation, and use a specific formula to calculate what's called your primary insurance amount, your PIA. That PIA becomes the foundation of your monthly Social Security check. Everything else, your age when you claim, whether you're married, whether you worked after claiming, all of that either adds to or subtracts from that foundational number. Now, here is where today's discussions start to become incredibly relevant. One of the key areas the SSA has been asked to revisit involves how certain earnings are indexed and calculated in that 35-year record. For years, there have been advocates, legislators, and retired workers arguing that the way the SSA treated certain types of employment, particularly for people who worked in jobs that didn't withhold Social Security taxes, like certain state and local government positions, was deeply unfair. And starting now, a major effort to address that fairness issue is being advanced. You may have heard of something called the Windfall Elimination Provision, or the WEP. And you may also have heard of the government pension offset known as the GPO. These two rules have been the source of enormous frustration and financial strain for millions of American retirees, particularly retired teachers, firefighters, police officers, and other public servants. For decades, these rules reduced and, in some cases, nearly eliminated the Social Security benefits of people who also received a government pension from a job that didn't pay into Social Security. Imagine working your entire life paying into Social Security through other jobs and then having your check cut simply because you also had a public pension. It felt like a penalty for serving your community. And for many retirees, it was financially devastating. As of now, that era may be approaching a turning point. A potential repeal of the WEP and GPO provisions, which has been debated publicly and may be implemented by the SSA if finalized, means that millions of affected retirees and their spouses could see their monthly Social Security benefits increase and, in some cases, significantly increase. We are talking about people who have been receiving reduced benefits for years, sometimes decades, who could now start receiving a larger monthly payment. And for surviving spouses who had their spousal or survivor benefits wiped out entirely by the GPO, a confirmed change like this could be nothing short of life changing. Now, I want to make sure we're really clear about who this could affect, because I've been getting a lot of questions about this. If you worked in a public sector job, a teacher, a police officer, a firefighter, a state employee, a municipal worker, and your employer did not withhold Social Security taxes from your paycheck, and you also earned Social Security credits through other employment, then the WEP very likely affected your benefit calculation. And if you are the spouse or widow or widower of someone in that situation, the GPO may have dramatically reduced or eliminated the spousal or survivor benefits you were entitled to. Both of those situations are now being reevaluated. The SSA is actively working through its systems to identify affected beneficiaries and make the appropriate adjustments when required. But here is the critical thing I need you to hear. This may not happen automatically for everyone without any action on your part. For some people, the adjustments will flow through automatically once the SSA updates its records. But for others, particularly those who haven't yet filed or those whose employment records may be incomplete or unclear, you may need to contact the SSA directly, provide documentation of your government employment, and make sure your case is being reviewed. I will talk about exactly how to do that in just a few minutes. So please stay with me. Let's talk about something else that may be changing, because the WEP and GPO conversation is not the only major update being discussed. The SSA also periodically updates how it handles what's called substantial gainful activity, or SGA. Now, SGA is the threshold that determines whether someone on Social Security Disability Insurance, or SSDI, is considered to be working too much to qualify for benefits. This threshold is adjusted periodically to reflect changes in the national average wage, and the next adjustment may move that number upward. What that means in practical terms is that if you are receiving SSDI and you have been doing some part-time or limited work, a higher threshold can give you a bit more breathing room before your disability benefits are affected. This is an important and welcome shift for the many Americans who rely on disability benefits but want to maintain some level of work and independence. There is also an update to the retirement earnings test, which is the rule that affects people who are under their full retirement age and are still working while collecting Social Security. For years, this rule has caused confusion and frustration. If you claim Social Security before reaching your full retirement age and you continue working and earning above a certain limit, the SSA temporarily withholds a portion of your benefits. The important word there is temporarily. The money isn't lost forever. It gets added back into your benefit calculation once you reach full retirement age. But in the meantime, it can feel like a financial squeeze. The next update may raise the exempt earnings thresholds, meaning you can earn a bit more from work before any temporary withholding kicks in. This is particularly meaningful for the growing number of seniors who are choosing to work part-time in retirement, whether out of financial necessity or simply because they enjoy staying active and engaged. And speaking of retirement ages and timing, this is something I want to spend a few minutes on because it is one of the most consequential decisions any retiree can make. And the upcoming rules can add nuances that are worth understanding clearly. As most of you know, you can begin claiming Social Security retirement benefits as early as age 62. But if you claim early, your monthly benefit is permanently reduced. Reduced for every month you claim before your full retirement age, which, for most people, currently falls somewhere between 66 and 67, depending on your birth year. On the other end of the spectrum, if you delay claiming past your full retirement age, your benefit grows by a certain percentage for each year of delay, up until age 70. After 70, there is typically no additional growth, so there is usually no reason to wait past 70 to claim. The decision of when to claim is deeply personal and depends on factors like your health, your financial situation, whether you have a spouse, and what other income sources you have available. But what the next updates can do is add a layer of complexity that you need to be aware of. For anyone navigating possible WEP or GPO changes, the timing of when you claim or when you refiled or made adjustments to your claim can affect how any retroactive corrections are calculated. And for those who haven't yet claimed but are approaching retirement, understanding how these new rules interact with your personal benefit calculation is more important than ever. I also want to address something that has been spreading on social media and in email chains because I think it's important to separate fact from fiction. There have been a number of posts and messages going around suggesting that the next SSA changes include a dramatic, across-the-board increase in monthly checks for all retirees, or that there is some kind of special enrollment window that seniors need to act on immediately, or they'll miss out forever. I want to be honest with you. Some of what's circulating online is exaggerated, and some of it is just flat out false. The real changes can be meaningful and significant for millions of people, but they are specific and targeted, not universal. The best thing you can do is get your information from reliable sources. The official SSA website, your local Social Security office, or a trusted financial advisor, and be very skeptical of anything that promises a quick and easy windfall just for clicking a link. Now, let's talk about Medicare. Because for many seniors, Social Security and Medicare are deeply intertwined. Your Medicare Part B premium is automatically deducted from your Social Security check each month. And every year, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the CMS, adjusts those premiums. In the coming year, there may be changes to Medicare premium structures that you need to factor into your overall picture of what your net Social Security payment will look like. Even if your gross benefit goes up as a result of WEP or GPO changes, your net check, the amount that actually hits your bank account, will reflect whatever your Part B premium is. So understanding both sides of that equation is important. If you haven't reviewed your Medicare enrollment and premium status recently, now is an excellent time to do so. I also want to talk to the spouses and surviving spouses watching this video. Because you are a group of people who have historically been among the most affected by complex SSA rules, and the upcoming changes have very direct implications for you. If your spouse passed away and they had a Social Security record, you may be entitled to survivor benefits based on their work history rather than your own. And those survivor benefits can sometimes be significantly higher than your own retirement benefit. The GPO in particular has enormous implications for widows and widowers who were previously having their survivor benefits dramatically reduced or eliminated because they also had a government pension. Starting now, those reductions may be reconsidered where the rules change. If you are in this situation or if you think you might be, please do not wait for the SSA to come to you. Reach out proactively. Make sure they have your current contact information. Ask them to review your case in light of any new guidance. You may be eligible for back payments for periods covered by updated rules, and you don't want to leave that money on the table. Let me tell you about the process of actually navigating this because I know for some of you, the idea of dealing with the Social Security Administration can feel overwhelming. The phone lines are long, the website can be confusing, and if you've ever tried to sort out a complicated benefit question, you know that it can sometimes feel like you're going in circles. So, let me give you some practical guidance that can make this process a little bit smoother. The first thing you should do starting today, if you haven't already, is create or log into your My Social Security account online. You can do this at ssa.gov and it is completely free. Your online account gives you access to your full earnings history, your estimated benefit amounts, the status of any pending applications or appeals, and information about any deductions being taken from your check. If you haven't set up an online account yet, I strongly encourage you to do it. It takes about 15 minutes and it puts you in the driver's seat when it comes to monitoring your benefits. Once you're logged in, look carefully at your earnings record. If you see any years where earnings appear to be missing or incorrect, that needs to be corrected, especially now because those records feed directly into your benefit calculation. If you believe you are affected by possible WEP or GPO changes, and you have not yet received any communication from the SSA about a benefit adjustment, the next step is to call the SSA directly. The national number is 1-800-772-1213, and they do have staff who can help with questions about WEP and GPO cases specifically. When you call, have your Social Security number ready, as well as any documentation of your government employment. Things like pension award letters, employment records, or notices from your government pension agency. The more documentation you can provide, the faster and smoother the process will be. You can also visit your local Social Security office in person. And for complex cases involving WEP or GPO, an in person visit is often the most effective approach. You can find your nearest office by going to ssa.gov and using the office locator tool. If you have a trusted family member or friend who can accompany you, that can be helpful, both for moral support and for making sure nothing important gets lost in translation during the conversation. Now, I want to address something that is really important for those of you who may be in a position to help an elderly parent or a spouse who is less comfortable with technology or with navigating these systems. The SSA does allow authorized representatives, family members, attorneys, and advocates to act on behalf of a beneficiary. If your parent or spouse is struggling to manage their own SSA matters, you can become an authorized representative and handle correspondence, appointments, and inquiries on their behalf. This is a valuable option, and if you're in that situation, I'd encourage you to look into it. Let's talk about what happens if your benefit amount changes and you disagree with the new calculation. This is something that may come up as the SSA processes adjustments related to any WEP or GPO revisions. The government systems are not perfect, and errors can and do happen. If you receive a notice from the SSA showing a new benefit amount and it doesn't look right to you, maybe it seems too low or the back payment amount seems off, you have the right to appeal. You have 60 days from the date of the notice to file an appeal. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to take that deadline seriously. Missing the appeal window can be very difficult to overcome. If you're not sure how to file an appeal or whether you have grounds for one, this is a situation where consulting a Social Security attorney or advocate can be genuinely valuable. Many of them work on a contingency basis for disability and benefit appeal cases, meaning they don't charge you up front. I also want to take a moment and talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough, and that is the emotional weight of all of this. For a lot of seniors, particularly those who spent decades working in public service, who felt shortchanged by rules like the WEP and GPO, who watched their benefits get reduced despite years of hard work and contribution, these changes can represent more than just a financial adjustment. They can represent a form of recognition and acknowledgement that the old rules weren't fair. And for some of you, especially those who lost a spouse and saw your survivor benefits cut through no fault of your own, the word relief might not even fully cover what you're feeling right now. I want you to know that your frustration over the years was valid, your advocacy was justified, and the fact that this conversation is happening is something worth acknowledging. At the same time, I want to be real with you about the timeline. The SSA is a massive federal agency processing benefits for tens of millions of Americans. Implementing a change of this magnitude, reviewing millions of individual records, recalculating benefits, issuing retroactive payments is going to take time. The agency has said it is prioritizing the most affected cases. But if you are expecting to see a change in your next check, you may be disappointed. For many people, these adjustments will take several months to fully work through the system. That doesn't mean you should sit back and wait. It means you should be proactive. Stay informed, follow up regularly, and make sure your records are accurate and up to date. One more thing I want to discuss, and this is particularly important for anyone who is approaching retirement age and hasn't yet claimed Social Security. The landscape looks different today than it did even 1 year ago. If you were previously considering delaying your claim specifically because you were uncertain about how the WEP or GPO might affect your benefit, that calculation may now be different. If you're a government employee or retiree who was going to receive a reduced benefit because of those provisions, your recalculated benefit under any new rules might change the math on when it makes most sense for you to claim. This is an excellent time to sit down either on your own using the tools at SSA.gov directly or with a financial planner who specializes in retirement income, and revisit your claiming strategy with fresh eyes. And if you have a spouse, please make sure you are looking at this as a household decision, not just an individual one. Spousal benefits, survivor benefits, and the coordination of two Social Security records can be enormously complex, and the decisions you make individually have consequences for your spouse's security down the road. In particular, if one spouse had significantly higher lifetime earnings than the other, the decision of when the higher earner claims can have a lasting impact on the survivor benefit available to the lower earner after a death. These are conversations worth having carefully and worth having. Now, before I wrap up, I want to circle back to something I said at the very top of this video because I think it bears repeating. The single most powerful thing you can do today, more than anything else I've covered, is to be proactive. Don't wait for a letter. Don't wait for the phone to ring. Don't assume the SSA has your information correct and is automatically taking care of you. Log into your account. Check your earnings record. Call if you have questions. Visit your local office if you need to. Ask for help from a family member or a trusted advisor if navigating this feels too complicated on your own because the system does make mistakes. And the people who catch those mistakes are almost always the ones who are actively paying attention. You have worked hard for these benefits. You have earned them through years of labor, through payroll deductions, through decades of contribution to this country. The rules are being discussed today in ways that are, on balance, genuinely positive for millions of American retirees and their families. But rules don't protect you automatically. Knowledge protects you. And that's exactly why you watch this video today. I'll be continuing to cover all of the updates as they roll out because this story is not over. The SSA will be releasing more guidance in the coming weeks as it processes these changes, and there will be new information, new timelines, and potentially new actions required on your part. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of those updates. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with someone you care about: a parent, a sibling, a neighbor, a friend, anyone who is at or near retirement age and deserves to have this information, because the more people who know, the more families get protected. And that is exactly what this channel is here for. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay proactive, and take good care of yourself because you have absolutely earned